Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto had a secret admirer in Temari during the Chunin exams, part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Haku looked up in shock to see that the Jinchuriki come down upon her hard and fast. With quick thinking, she made a ice Senbon and blocked his assault. What the? Naruto grabbed her arm and snapped in two, making her scream in pain. Then he kicked her in the abdomen and sent a crushing axe kick to the head, making her fall to the ground. He clambered over her back and lifted her head by the hair, raising a kunai to her neck. Who are you? Your worst nightmare, if you don't answer this question in the next few seconds. Did you order some mercenaries to kill a blacksmith by the name of Nekoshi Murama? No. Who is he? Naruto didn't answer for a moment and then answered, he was a friend, almost like a father to me. Quickly, he knocked her out using the ring of his kunai on her head. Naruto moved from Haku's seemingly dead body and moved towards Zabuza and Kakashi to see that the demon of the mist was held down by Kakashi's dog summons. Wait one moment, sensei. I need to ask Zabuza something. Naruto said as he approached the two of them. Kakashi looked over at Naruto with his jutsu slowly dispersing from his hand. I don't thin, he voiced out. Naruto glared at his sensei for a moment, making Kakashi shut up, then he turned to the ex-mist ninja and asked, Zabuza, did you kill a man named Nekoshi Murama? So what if I did? Zabuza said with a defiant look. Naruto said, wrong answer, Zabuza. He activated his glove, giving off a powerful flame than ever before, he didn't even register it. The boy held the corrosive flames at the Jonin's chest, answer me. Zabuza grimaced in pain for a while and then he screamed out as the boy pressed it closer, ag. And no, I didn't. Naruto took it away from the man's chest and said, I see, so Gato is the one responsible for his death. Thank you for telling me the truth. The boy walked away only to hear laughter from the other side of the unfinished bridge. Everyone turned to see Gato standing in front of his men, which were 100 strong. Looks like you couldn't finish the job at all, huh? Don't worry, I will finish it for you and I am afraid that I will have to kill you too, the short, pudgy man said with a laugh. Oi, Naruto said, did you kill a man named Nekoshi? Why, yes. His usefulness had ran out since that all my men were supplied with weapons. Gato said. Suddenly red chakra surrounded his body, turning his vibrant, blue eyes into burning red pools of anger. His teeth and nails grew sharper. Kakashi-sensei, release Zabuza-san, we are going to need his services to get all of us out of this alive. He should be fine with that burn on his chest since it is second degree only. Not so fast. Gato shouted as he snapped his fingers to have his bodyguards bring out a gagged and struggling Tsunami and Inari. Naruto immediately pulled out his crossbows from his shoulder and back and asked quietly, Serenity, most possible way to kill bodyguards without hurting innocent bystanders. Left target. Aim at the railing 36 degrees east, right target. Aim at the sky 89 degrees north. Naruto did so and shot the bolts. The deadly bolts hit both Zori and Waraji in their eye, allowing the prisoners to run free. The bandits tried to reclaim their prize, but were cut down by Naruto's bolts. The two got to Naruto, who took their gags off and said to them, go to Tazuna and Sakura, I am sure that Sasuke is awake by now. Kill them, Gato shouted. The Jinchuriki bit his pointer finger to spread one of the hexagons to unseal a black sword that resembles a cross if you held it at the blade. One thing, Zabuza, you kill Gato, I kill you, got it? Faye, whatever, kid. Kakashi, Naruto and Zabuza ran at the crowd, wielding their weapons. Naruto reached the crowd first and jumped in the air as he stabbed a bandit in the throat. He quickly pulled it out as he launched a blast of flames toward another in front of him. Naruto took his sword and sliced off a man's arm off to make him scream in pain until the Jinchuriki backhanded him hard across the face. Kakashi thought to himself, where did he get those weapons and who is Nekoshi? And how the hell is he killing people so easily? Zabuza hacked down 3 bandits down the middle of their waist as he thought, that kid is pissed off and that chakra, it's foul and appalling, is he a Jinchuriki like Yagura? Next, Naruto impaled a bandit through the stomach with his sword and then had to move away to avoid a slash from one of the bandits. The Jinchuriki quickly rolled and bit his thumb as he reached down to his left thigh to unseal a Kyokutsu Shoge. Picture the one in Ninja Assassin. As the Jinchuriki began to twirl around, the thugs that surrounded him stepped back to avoid it and in fear. Finally the boy sent it out to stab a random thug and shouted, "Get over here." He pulled the chain, which launched the thug forward into a clothesline move. Then he ripped out the blade downwards before he pulled it out and swung it around his head, making the thugs avoid him once again. A thug got brave and charged in with his battle axe, but Naruto dodged to the left, making the thug kill one of his own and jumped up to slice his throat. He reached his sword and pulled it out of the body, then quickly sealed the Kyokutsu Shoge in its seal while the thugs regrouped to kill the kid. It is just one kid, how the hell does one kid kill 10 of us in 6 minutes? One of them asked. Naruto answered, it is because I have a goal and that goal is to avenge my fallen friend, Nekoshi Murama. Your boss made the mistake of killing him and now, he lifted Katami as he pointed the sword at them, all of you will die alongside with him. That sword. That is the Black Cross sword. Zabuza thought, so Kazuma, you entrusted that sword to that boy, huh? Hey, I guess that looking at him now, is a lot like you. Please spare us, we will leave this village and. No, there is no escape, there is no guarantee that you will not try to harm an innocent except for one possible outcome, your deaths. You made a wife lose her husband and a daughter, her father. I am acting on the will of those two and my friend, will be avenged. Wait a moment. Naruto threw a kunai at the protesting thug, which lodged within his throat. The Jinchuriki placed his sword through the loop of his belt securely and took out his crossbows. He jumped in the air and shot bolts at the group, cutting them down with their dying screams lingering in the air. Nekoshi placed seals on the crossbows to reload every time I shoot a bolt. Thank you, my friend. Your sacrifice will not be in vain. Soon he had cut down over 20 thugs with the crossbows and holstered back as he knew that he ran out of ammo, then drew Katami. He stabbed one in the chest, then kicked another with a roundhouse kick. He blocked a thug's overhand strike and punched him with his left metal cestus hand. Naruto ducked under an attack and then hacked off a bandit's head. He didn't care about the carnage and gore he was causing, he didn't care about the screams of agony surrounding him, and the only thing that he cared about at all was avenging the death of Nekoshi by killing Gato. A cut on his arm thrusted him back to reality and Naruto decked him in the face, then took his legs from him. Between the Jonin and Naruto, the bandits' status was either dead, dismembered or running away from the bridge in sheer fear. The Jinchuriki looked at the whimpering Gato, who pleaded with the boy, please, let me go. I won't stay in this village anymore. I can give you money, power, women, anything. Can you give back life? No, you can, because of your greed, a woman and daughter are crying for the loss of their family member. Naruto stabbed him in the shoulder and pulled out a crossbow while putting his foot on the cast. Because of your actions, I lost a friend. He shot Gato's hand, pinning him to the floor and making the man scream in pain. Because of you, this village lost a great man. No, 2 of them, and you want me to spare you. Naruto said coldly, don't make me laugh, you son of a bitch. He kicked him across the face and said, this is for Ayaka, Inari, Tsunami, Tazuna and Maya, Reski's cat in pace, asshole. He unleashed his hidden blade and stabbed Gato in the throat, The business tyrant died with a gurgle and he suffered as the light left his eyes. The Jinchuriki sheathed his blade and walked away only to throw up on the ground as the adrenaline left his body as well as his demon's chakra. Kakashi moved to his student and said, "Naruto, are you okay?" The blonde replied, "Yeah, I am, just give me a minute, sensei." The Sharingan wielder thought for a moment and decided to wait to ask about his sudden anger and those weapons. He said, "Kid, that was one of the most sadistic things I ever saw from someone of your age. We're even, take your apprentice and leave." Naruto said without looking at him at all. "Nah, I think I better stick around here with you. Running from hunter ninjas are no fun anymore, plus I think you need someone who can teach you how to use that sword," the ex-Jonin replied. "Fine," Naruto said, "be my guest." Then the boy passed out on the ground, but luckily Kakashi had caught him before he fell to the ground. I guess using the Kyuubi's chakra and the kills made him shut down a bit. He thought to himself, it looks like I will have to ask him when he wakes up. On the next day, Naruto woke up with Sakura sitting beside his head. "Oh, you are awake," the Haruno said, "I'll get sensei." The silver-haired man came in and asked, "How are you doing, Naruto?" "Fine. I have some explaining to do, huh?" "Who is Nekoshi?" "He was a blacksmith. He was the one who made the bolts for my crossbows and my gauntlet. When I went to go pick it up, I found him almost dead. He told me to take his weapons, all of them, and tell his wife and child that he was sorry. I did so and promised to get justice on Gato." "And the sword?" Naruto said sadly. "He was Kazuma Murama, the former Black Cross. After a life of killing, he found Ayaka, his wife, and settled down. He had a terminal illness that affected his muscles. Even blacksmithing was killing him. He would have had a year left if he continued." Kakashi was quiet for a moment. "I'm sorry, Naruto." "It's all right, Kakashi-sensei. My vengeance is complete now. I feel that Nekoshi can rest now, but I am going to miss him. He was like the father that I never had." Naruto noticed Kakashi wince at the implication and then he asked, "So when are we leaving?" "In a week. We have to repair the bridge since some of the damages were inflicted on it." "All right," answered Naruto. Then Tsunami said, "Naruto-san, there is someone by the name of Ayaka here to see you." The boy got up and left to the door to see Ayaka and Maya. "Hey, you two," the boy said as he came downstairs with a smile. "Naruto-nichan," Maya cried out as she hugged Naruto, "did you beat all the bad men?" Naruto replied as he knelt down to the girl, "Yeah, we beat all of the bad men." "Maya-chan." Maya hugged the blonde-haired ninja, who held her close and a single tear fell down from his face. Sakura thought, Naruto. Soon after the week was done, the whole population of Wave came to see the ninja off, including Haku and Zabuza. "Well, I guess that this is goodbye," Tazuna said to them. "Don't worry, we will come and visit you guys someday," Sakura said with a cheerful smile. Inari started to cry, but then Naruto said to him, "Look sharp." The Jinchuriki smiled and said, "Smile when you cry, that way you are crying happy tears. Also do me a favor." He knelt down to Inari's level and said, "Take care of yourself and Maya-chan, got it?" Inari nodded and then Naruto hugged Ayaka and Maya, "I will see you soon." The Jinchuriki left, but Tsunami quickly hugged him and whispered, "Thank you for saving me and my son back there and take care of yourself." Naruto nodded and ran off to reach the ninja. Konoha Team 7, along with Zabuza and Haku, went inside of the Hokage Tower. Sarutobi said, "Hello, Team 7, may I ask why is Zabuza here unrestrained?" The swordsman said, "I am here on my own free will. I was on the opposite side on Kakashi's team. I saw that Naruto here has acquired a sword from a former member of the Shinobi Swordsmen of the Mist. Therefore I am obligated to train him for a month and then leave." The Hokage said, "I see, alright, I will allow this and give you temporary status as a ninja. If you try anything suspicious, your life will be forfeit, understood? Zabuza nodded and the Hokage said, all right, Team 7, you are dismissed and you have 2 weeks off for successfully. Kakashi, I will expect the report by tomorrow. Actually, Hokage-sama, I can give my report now. The old man nodded and handed 2 headbands that had the kanji for temporary to Zabuza and Haku. Next, he said, I have assigned your apartments in the same complex as Naruto. I trust that you will be fine with these accommodations. Both of the water ninja nodded and the Hokage said, all right, dismissed. The genin including Haku and Zabuza left, leaving Kakashi and Sarutobi alone. Talk to me. Naruto is very advanced for his age. He apparently can channel the Kyuubi's chakra and convert it into a corrosive flame. He also knows basic sealing to hide his weapons, and on top of that, he has killed already. He slaughtered over 50 bandits in anger and brutally tortured Gato for killing a blacksmith named Nekoshi Murama. Kakashi said, I am not surprised by that. If it were Sasuke or Sakura, then I would be, but he does have the Kyuubi's chakra in his body to use. Did he react to it? He threw up like every ninja does before their first kill. He was a bit shaken up about it until the daughter and widow of Nekoshi came to him. Alright, anything else? Yes, Sasuke has also unlocked his Sharingan during his battle with Haku-san, but that is basically all that happened. After their break, I plan on training them, all of them to the best of their ability. The Jonin said to the old man. Very well, you are dismissed, Kakashi. Naruto, I have 2 weeks to spare before training with Zabuza, he thought. You can change your blood type now, Master Naruto. Serenity replied. Alright, let's do it. Program execute. Operation Blood O, commencing. Naruto felt himself lull back into unconsciousness and he was suspended in his mind. There, he was trapped for 48 hours to train his mind while his body was being changed on the inside. After the 2 days were completed, Naruto woke up, stiff, and he got up slowly, stretching his unused body. Then he strode over to one of the training grounds to find a young girl training. That is Hinata Hyuga, the heiress of the Hyuga clan. What is she doing here this late? He thought. It is 10 o'clock at night. He walked over to see Hinata striking at a log with a metal sheet covered over it. You know, it is a bit dangerous for a young lady such as yourself to be out here this late. She jumped and hid behind the log a bit, and Naruto-kun. Hello, Hinata-chan, I see that you're getting some extra training in, huh? Hi, but what are you doing here, and Naruto-kun? Same as you, training. I was asleep for a couple of days, so I came for training as well. Then I saw you here and figured that we could train together. Training? With Naruto-kun, alone. Hinata thought. Naruto-sama, this girl's pheromone levels are rising off of the charts, any more and I believe that she might faint. Naruto chuckled as he replied, alright, Serenity, thank you. The nanite-enhanced boy said, well, what is your answer? Hi. Naruto said, okay, I want you to attack me, don't worry about hurting me. I have a high pain tolerance. Hinata nodded and got in her gentle fist stance, then the Jinchuriki moved in his taijutsu stance, alright, come at me. The Hyuga attacked the Uzumaki, but he was dodging the attacks very easily. Her style seems too stiff, much like her clan. She is more of a flexible person. Serenity, check for fighting styles that require flexibility. Searching. There are exactly 6 styles that fits with her flexibility. There is Bakwazong, Shin-Na, Goju Ryu Karate, Hapkido, Koshijutsu and Eiki Jujutsu. Can you upload the basics, so I can teach her a bit? Uploading basics. Upload complete. Naruto looked at Hinata and said, Hinata, are you having problems with adapting to your clan taijutsu style? The girl looked at him and averted her eyes from his blue ones. You aren't you? Didn't you talk to your father or something? Surely he would try to help you, right? Again, she said nothing and Naruto said, Hinata. Hinata, look at me. He took her chin and lifted her head. Why didn't you ask for help? My family doesn't tolerate weakness or anything at all. I couldn't ask anyone for. That is it, the Jinchuriki interrupted. I am going to help you. I know some styles that you can work within your family style as well as utilizing your flexibility. Now come and watch me. But. No buts. Got it. Now I want you to stand beside me and copy my movements. This style is very old, it's called Bakwazang. Hinata got up and copied his movements, then spent the next 2 hours using that style against Naruto. Soon both were tired and Naruto said, Come on, I better get you home before someone thinks you have been kidnapped or something. The heiress nodded and the two genin walked together to her home. They reached their destination and Hinata bowed to her crush. Thanks for helping me, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled at her. Anytime, if you want, I can help you train again at this time. Hinata smiled. I would like that a lot. Alright, I will see you tomorrow night. Naruto leapt into the night as Hinata snuck into her room and went off to bed. Alright, kid, I am going to train you in the art of swordsmanship as a favor to Kazuma-san. First lesson, the sword is not considered a tool or a weapon, but an extension of yourself. Where it goes, you follow. Now are you left-handed or right-handed? Zabuza asked. Naruto answered, I am ambidextrous, but predominantly my right. Zabuza nodded and turned to his surrogate daughter. Haku, bring the arm and leg weights. Hi. Zabuza-sama. And I told you it is not Zabuza-sama anymore, it is Zabuza-2-san now since I consider you my daughter. The fight against Gato made the man realize that Haku was very precious to him despite what he boasts to Kakashi back on the bridge in Wave. The ice user brought the weights and put them onto Naruto's legs and arms and then the temporary Jonin instructed, now put some chakra into the weights until they feel heavy. Naruto did so and 5 minutes later, his arms and legs felt heavier than usual. He looked at them to see the number 15 on them and he deduced that was how much pounds he was wearing. Alright, your limbs have 15 pounds exactly. Wearing these will help you increase your speed of your swings, punches and kicks. I am going to let you regulate them to see how serious you are about this. If you slack for the slightest moment, I will drop you from your training, understand? Hi. Zabuza-sensei. Good. Now give me 100 up and down strikes, 100 side swipes and 100 diagonal strikes, both ways. If you mess up, we will start again, go. Naruto began his weighted training with his right hand and left hand separately and then switched to two-handed strikes. At the end of his strike training, his arms were searing in pain, it even hurt to move any of his fingers. Now we will work on your agility. You have good reflexes on par for a Chunin level ninja, but you will encounter people your age with the strength of a Jonin. So Haku here will be throwing her Senbon at you for the next 30 minutes. Wait a minute. Go. Naruto began to dodge her attack, but he was pierced by several Senbon in the process. The number happened to reach to 40 and the Jinchuriki soon found out that the number of Senbon that pierced his body was equal to the number of how many laps he had to do around the training ground. Needless to say, today from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., Naruto's body ached. 2 hours later, his innate healing ability that he inherited from the Kyuubi dulled the pain, making the genin able to do his ninjutsu training and work on mastering his arsenal of C-rank jutsu until he reached his limit in 3 hours. Next, he ate and slept after he drew up ideas and plans for his new projects until 10 o'clock came around. He would venture to the same training ground to help train Hinata in some styles such as Chin-Na, a style that focuses on the joints and locking them in uncomfortable places. Naruto was able to help Hinata incorporate some of the style as well as Bakwazang, making her own style unique to her. It was a counterattack defensive style. Anytime Naruto attacked, she would counter or use his own attack against him. Hinata once commented that Naruto's speed was much like her cousin, Neji, and she slowly adjusted to it. This was his routine over the 2 weeks. After the last day of his vacation, he went out in the forest and landed on a branch to see a small mansion guarded by Anbu and medical ninja. Henge. Naruto said as he transformed into a mouse and quickly scurried across the path past the Anbu and medical corps. Soon he reached the mansion and crawled through the cracks to find himself in Yakumo's room. He released his henge and crept over to her bed to cover her mouth, making her eyes snap open and look at him in fear. Naruto put a finger to his lips and whispered, "Don't scream, I am a friend, now I am going to help you, Yakumo Kurama, if you promise to hear me out, will you be silent?" Yakumo nodded and Naruto lifted his hand away as she whispered, "Who are you?" "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I heard that your power was wrongfully sealed by the order of the third Hokage, plus I know that you are physically incapable of being an active ninja, but I will help you in this too." Yakumo's face changed from anger to sorrow to hope. "How did you find me?" "I have a friend in high places. Now I must tell you the true reason why your powers were sealed. You see, your powers were so great that it created a second personality in your brain. Now that personality is basically the opposite of you and could take over you at any given moment. The first time was when it killed your parents." Yakumo was shocked. "I killed my own parents?" "No. The monster hidden within you took over your body and did it. That is why your teacher, Kurenai Yuhi, sealed your powers to make sure that others and yourself would not get hurt at all. They dubbed it as the Edo monster. But I will need your help since you are the only one who can defeat it." Alright. Ninja style. Treasured mind. Naruto said as he held his hand to Yakumo's head, and instantly he appeared beside Yakumo and said, "Ready." The genjutsu user nodded and the two ventured into Yakumo's mind to find the Edo eating parts of her mind. "Wow. You are an ugly fellow, aren't you?" Naruto commented and the Edo said, "So you have come, master." Quote. "You are going back to where you belong, out of here," Yakumo said in a stern glare. The Edo narrowed its eyes at Naruto as it said, "It seems that you let that boy corrupt you with his lies and empty promises. Don't worry, master, I will subdue him and make you see the truth." The Edo attacked Naruto, who dodged its attack and grabbed its long ears to pull downwards to meet his knee. "Yakumo, now would be a really good time to banish this dark side of you before I get killed," Naruto said as he dodged most of the Edo's attacks. "What if it's right? It's not. I can relate to you because the third Hokage ordered seals to be placed on me when I was a child without my knowledge. Do you know about the Kyuubi no Kitsune?" Yakumo replied, "How can I not? Most of my clan was destroyed by it." Naruto grunted, "The thing is that the Kyuubi wasn't killed, it was sealed within me. We both have a cursed power, but right now, you have the power to control it fully without any repercussions, and as for me, helping your body to become strong, the answer lies within my blood. Now try to think of a way to destroy it." Yakumo replied, "The Kyuubi was sealed within you. That means you have had a harder life than I have, but why are you so adamant on helping me?" Naruto reached a standstill against the terrible Edo by grabbing its arms inches from his head, "Because, you remind me of myself, feeling useless, alone, unappreciated, that is why I am going to help you." Yakumo thought for a moment and a scalpel appeared in her hand, then the genjutsu user leapt into the air to stab the Edo in its head. But I did it, to serve you." The Edo exploded into a purple haze while giving one last screech before dissipating. "Cutting that a bit close, aren't you?" Naruto said, panting while Yakumo gave him a sheepish smile. The two appeared back to their real world and Yakumo whispered, "So how are you going to do this?" Naruto pulled out a syringe filled with blood, but it was glistening a bit. This is filled with my blood, which accidentally came in contact with nanites. The vast amounts should destroy any traces of the Edo and help regulate your genjutsu power. You may even be able to do a few ninjutsu. If you hear a voice in your head, don't worry, it is all natural and in a few days, you will be and feel different. Yakumo said, "Will I ever see you again?" Naruto thought about it for a minute and said, "I don't know, when you get better, maybe I will get the privilege of seeing you again, so until, I will see you later." Yakumo Kurama, student of Kurenai Yuhi. He injected his blood within her body and then he left, transforming into a squirrel this time around, leaving Yakumo's fate up to his injected nanites. Soon he was on duty once again with his team and then Zabuza and Haku left to go to Kurigakure, hearing word that Yagura was dead and a new leader was established. The ex-Jonin left his temporary student a scroll holding Suiden, Suoro, Daibakufu and Suiryuden no Jutsu. Sasuke felt a bit jealous of Naruto getting training from him, but he didn't voice it since he noticed that he was the one that Kakashi was mostly focusing on at the time due to his Sharingan. Team 7 did only D-rank missions, now that there was the possibility of the clients lying about the mission to be cheap. Suddenly on one day, there was a hawk that appeared in the sky, causing Kakashi to leave early. Sasuke went to train, expecting Sakura to ask him on a date, but he noticed that she was talking to Naruto. He didn't know why, but it bothered him for the longest while and he couldn't take it anymore. "Alright, who are you?" Sasuke asked. "Huh," the Haruno said in confusion. "Who are you? You haven't talked or pestered me about a date, you haven't squealed my name in a month, so who are you?" Naruto smirked. "Why, she is Sakura Haruno, a kunoichi, she was asking me for tips on her training regiment, perhaps you have some to teach her." Sasuke. "Damn right I do, I bet that I can help her better than you, Uzumaki." "Then by all means, prove me wrong, Rookie of the Year." Sasuke growled. "Tomorrow, 3 p.m. after team meetings, training area 3, I will show you some of my jutsu." The Uchiha stalked off, missing the sly smirk on Naruto's face and the shocked one on Sakura's own. "Did he basically just asked me to train with him?" "Yes, it is a bit of a surprise to me too. I never thought he would ask you so soon." Naruto said with a smirk. Sakura asked, "Naruto, you are smirking. Although I have ignored you for years, I do know that your smirking means you did something." "I did, though Sasuke did all of the work for me, he loves attention and strong women much like his mother. Since he has awakened his Sharingan and I won't train with him, but I have been training with you means something. To get to me, he realized that he must get through you first and since me and Kakashi have gotten you up to par to a high genin level, a spar with Sasuke should push you to your limits." Sakura gasped. "Why you plan this?" "Yep. Surprise. You are now closer to Sasuke than you have accomplished in your years at the academy. Now remember, never mention his brother or family around him, etc. It is a touchy subject and as a gift, bring some tomatoes, not sweets or fruit. He hates anything associated with his brother to that point, especially Pocky. I only do it to piss him off, which I find hilarious." Sakura nodded and she went off in the distance. Naruto went to a shinobi shop called the Heaven's Earth and a tall man with short, slicked back black hair and gray eyes with tan skin turned from his customer. "Welcome, I will be with you there shortly." Naruto nodded solemnly and grabbed several shuriken packs, 2 fishnet shirts, a coat with tattered edges and a cowl up to his neck, slightly covering his chin. Then the man appeared and said, "Hello, my name is Tenchi Mugawa, is that all?" "Yes, and I have a question, do you make weapons as well?" "Yes, we do, we are the second best at making them besides Lord Yu." Naruto nodded and unsealed Katami, making Tenchi raise an eyebrow and someone gasped out, "That is Katami, Kazuma Murama's sword, the legendary Black Cross." How did you manage to possess such a weapon like that? Naruto turned to see a young kunoichi wearing a pink Chinese shirt and green pants. In her holsters were two handheld scrolls and her hair was tied up in two small buns, making her look like a mouse and had brown eyes. Yes, it is, miss, and how I got her is the owner gave it to me. Gave it to you. If you don't like the answer, then fine, because that is all that I am saying about it. But you must have encountered him or something. Tenten, that is enough. The boy obviously went through some things that he doesn't want to disclose to get that sword. Tenchi said to her sternly. Then he turned to Naruto. Please excuse my niece, she has a hobby of learning about weapons wielded by legendary ninja other than Tsunade. Naruto replied, can you repair her please and sharpen her as well? Tenchi nodded and took her in the back. Your name is Uzumaki Naruto. Alright, Naruto-san, see me in 5 days, Tenchi said. Then the Jinchuriki walked out of the store after paying for his equipment and Tenten muttered, Uzumaki Naruto, huh? Most people would brag about that they killed one of the legendary 7 shinobi swordsmen of the mist, but why doesn't he? Tenchi looked at her and said, Tenten, don't pry into someone's past or you will regret it. If he wanted to tell you about it, then he would. Something must have happened to him when he encountered that man, so I suggest that you don't ask him at all or else. Yes, uncle, Tenten said, but her thoughts were exactly the opposite. She decided to follow this Naruto Uzumaki when he would come back to the shop again. Meanwhile, Naruto's weights were up to 40 and he noticed that he was getting better with his agility. Serenity was able to access low Chunin information and found out that the Chunin exams were coming up in 3 weeks' time. For some reason, it seems very important that Naruto suspected that Orochimaru has something involved with it, and to lie about the nanites would be hard to do it without Sarutobi being suspicious about the information, plus there were ears on every wall. Luckily, he found a scroll with seals. The easiest one happened to be a seal that blocks out noise or anything else, and it was made by Minato Namikaze. Due to Serenity's tinkering, she was able to let Naruto have X-ray vision for a brief moment and found it hidden in a compartment connected to a library desk. Looks like I will have to tell them everything, huh, Serenity? Naruto said. It is up to you, Naruto-sama, but ultimately this information could save someone's life in the near future. Serenity said. The Jinchuriki nodded and went over to the Hokage tower, meeting no resistance against the secretary. Just then a man walked out with Yakumo, who was wearing a Konoha headband from the office and walking. The Genjutsu user looked up and noticed Naruto's eyes, but Naruto smiled at her and placed a finger to his lips, making her eyes widen in recognition just as the Uzumaki entered the room. Hello, Hokage-sama. Hello, Naruto, what can I do for you? No, Hokage-sama, it is what I can do for you, Naruto said in a serious tone as he placed the seal on the wall. How did you find this seal, Naruto? Sarutobi asked. Library in a hidden compartment. Now I have recently stumbled on some classified information, involving the upcoming Chunin exams and your former student, Orochimaru. How? Remember 6 years ago when your Anbu found me in Orochimaru's lab, I accidentally was messing with a jar with gray matter filled inside of it. The jar broke and the gray matter traveled within my bloodstream. They are called nanites. They enhance my strength, speed, agility, eyesight, everything. I believe that he made these before he moved on to something else since none of his subjects survived the injection. Sarutobi said, so Orochimaru made those nanites, and there are the reason for your condition and your knowledge of the seals as well as the Kyuubi. Yes, I was able to take a small portion of the Kyuubi's chakra to input into my gloves, CK.X gloves. Unfortunately, I can only do 5 consecutive blasts before it has to recharge for 12 minutes. You made those gloves yourself. I thought Kakashi told you about them and some of my abilities as well, since you told him to keep a close eye on me as well, Hokage-sama. Although I have lost all of my trust in you, I can't let innocent people die because of my selfishness, so I trust that you will heed my warning seriously. Naruto said with a raised eyebrow. Sarutobi replied, "Don't worry, Naruto, I will heed it. Orochimaru, now, is a dangerous criminal whose ambitions must be stopped. Your orders are to keep this crucial information to yourself. I will alert all Chunin and Jonin personnel to be ready for anything during the Chunin exams. Thank you for notifying about it." "You are welcome, Hokage-sama." The boy tuned to take off the seal and moved to the door until Sarutobi's voice stopped him. "Naruto, I know that I have betrayed your trust and it is very much likely possible that I will never regain it from you, but I am very sorry for my poor decisions. I should have told you about when you finished your graduation from the academy and trust you about how to deal with it." Naruto nodded silently and left the room while Sarutobi sighed and leaning back into his chair. "Minato, Kushina, I messed up badly, what do I do now?" A mysterious wind blew some of the paperwork across his desk, but miraculously, the ones that were requested by Shinobi stayed put. Sarutobi looked at it and then he turned to the windows. They were closed, making the old Hokage let loose a smile. "Thank you, it looks like the civilian council will get a rude awakening." Kimiko. The secretary rushed in the office. "Hi, Hokage-sama. Send for Taka and his squad. Tell her that she is to notify the council for an emergency meeting." The shinobi sighed only. "Hi, Hokage-sama." Sarutobi nodded and then began to look his paperwork with renewed vigor. "I will set things right, Naruto, and after this meeting, I will need to start training again. I have been acting too much like a politician than a shinobi." At that moment, the pictures that held the previous cages almost seemed like they were all smiling down at Sarutobi as he did his paperwork and sorted the civilian side to give it to them. "The god of shinobi has returned to his post." "Council room, why have you called this meeting, Sarutobi?" asked Danzo curiously. "I have just received some information that one of our S-rank missing ninja will be returning to visit our lovely village and attempt to bring about its destruction." Sarutobi replied. "Who would that be, Hokage-sama? Is it Itachi Uchiha?" Sume Inuzuka asked in mild fear. Itachi was one of the best and there was no doubt in her mind that he could very well destroy this village with the information that he held in his head. "No, it happens to be my old student, Orochimaru." Shikaku Nara asked seriously, "When will the invasion happen and who was the informant?" "He will be coming in this upcoming Chunin exams, and as for the informant, the person asked if they would remain anonymous." The professor answered. Then he thought, "Like hell I am going to let you know about Naruto and his newfound powers, Danzo. I know that you have been wanting of his power as a Jinchuriki." He continued, "All personnel except for Genin will be notified of this matter secretly. The Genin must not know anything to keep up appearances. Some of your children may be entering the exams, but I rather keep them in the dark than making them paranoid." Choza replied, "But Orochimaru could, very well, infiltrate this village as a Genin." "I know, but Orochimaru could have spies posing as Genin or even have Genin posing as one of our own, therefore I can't have the Genin be notified of this information. Also it is easier to pose as a Genin than a Chunin or Jonin since most of them come through me for missions and I have a photographic memory. We must lure him into a false sense of security, we must use it to our advantage. I know that it might sacrifice some of the lives of our young generation, but I have no choice and this matter cannot be avoided. This is not a democracy, Choza." The Hokage said firmly with his steely gray eyes. Everyone shuddered as they all knew that the professor was back. "Danzo, I will give you authorization to activate Anbu route, although you have already started without my consent. After we suppress this attack, you will. I repeat, you will disable it completely and have them integrated in our shinobi program or you will be replaced from your position, is that clear?" "Hi, Hokage-sama. One more thing, Danzo, no more recruits. I understand that you care for Konoha as much as I do, but killing off their emotions by making them kill their brother or sister is not the way. Yes, emotions do bring hate, but they can also bring love and understanding. We may be weapons, but we are sentient, understand? Understood, Hokage-sama, Danzo said calmly. Excellent. Now on to another matter. Suddenly the Hokage was interrupted by the civilian council barging in with Mita Haruno in front, and Sarutobi said, "Ah, right on time. What is the meaning of this, Sarutobi? Why weren't we, the civilian council, notified of this emergency meeting?" Mita cried out in anger while the shinobi council frowned at the blatant disrespect. To answer your question, Mita, I have recently decided that the civilian side will not be involved in shinobi matters at all, and also, you all will appoint someone among your group to do your own paperwork. Kimiko, bring it in please. The secretary came in with a cart filled with papers up to the brim, and the Haruno declared, "You can't do this, the civilian council has always been involved with the shinobi for 4 generations. And I am changing that rule now. Discussing about disputes in businesses or marital affairs is not the concern of the Hokage unless one of the spouses is an active or retired shinobi. Now, as of this moment, you are denied access to anything that involves a shinobi, so I suggest that you all see your way out of this room along with your paperwork, or I will have the Anbu throw you out in the streets." "The people will not stand for this," one of the members said in protest. "Then I suggest that you tell the people that this is a dictatorship, and if they don't like it, they can my left testicle," Sarutobi said with a cold smirk. "Damn, Naruto has been rubbing off on me," he thought. Most of the shinobi laughed openly, chuckled or smirked at Sarutobi's choice of words while the civilian council walked out sullenly. Then the Hokage turned back at them. "Now every patrol will be in groups of 5. No goes off alone. Got it?" The shinobi nodded and Sarutobi said, "Good, any questions?" Inoichi Yamanaka said, "You seem to have a lot of trust in this informant of yours, Sarutobi-sama. How do you know that this person is not lying?" "Trust me as I say this, Inoichi, my informant has no reason to lie to me at all, considering that person has people in this village that they care about deeply and can't bear to have innocent people die because of their poor decision to not reveal the information. If they are lying, then there is no reason not to be alert, since it is Orochimaru. He is no laughing matter, since I was the one who taught him. Anything else you would like to ask?" Nobody said anything, and Sarutobi said, "Very well then, all of you are dismissed." After doing a D rank mission, Kakashi looked up to see a hawk circling in the air and said to his team, "All right, team, you're dismissed for today. I have to report about today's mission." He disappeared in a puff of smoke, and then Naruto turned to Sakura, "So how is training with Sasuke?" "A bit brutal. He is way faster than I am, but I realize that I have more power than him," she replied, and Sasuke absent-mindedly rubbed his jaw. Naruto smirked at the not-so-hidden gesture and said, "I see, well, I better go now, I got stuff to do." "Wait a minute," Sasuke said, "how come you never try to train with us or hang out?" Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Sasuke, you never hang out or anything, plus I don't train with you because I don't like to be used as a measuring tool at all. Also, I don't like to intrude on anything that you two do at all, and you have been bitching for my techniques for the past week." Sasuke said with a scowl, "I know, but I need those jutsu too. Kill Itachi-san. I know, hell, everyone knows about it, but having a whole bunch of jutsu will defeat him. You practically go ballistic on anyone who has associated or knows information on Itachi, plus I beat you in a spar after just mentioning his name. What do you know? You never lost anybody at all, my family is all but gone." The Uchiha shouted in anger. "What about your mother? She is still there. If you died fighting against him, I don't think that she would be able to bear it on her shoulders or even forgive herself for letting on the path of the Avenger. You are lucky that you even have a family. You don't know what it is like to not know about your parents." What they look like, how they were like, or even if they had loved you at all. If I had one choice to switch places with someone, it would have been you. Sasuke was surprised as Naruto walked away at that note and Sakura cried out, Naruto. She turned to Sasuke. I hope you are happy, Sasuke. Naruto has done nothing, but tried to help you to become stronger by giving you hints. He is right, you do have a superiority complex. I wouldn't have gone so low to jab at the lack of family he has at all. She ran after Naruto and Sasuke thought to himself, why do I feel sad all of a sudden? He looked at the disappearing Sakura for a moment and with a hidden resolve, he moved to go after her. Meanwhile, the Jinchuriki moved towards his apartment, but then he let loose a small smile. Konohamaru, Moegi, Udon, you three should know that a rock doesn't have eye holes or perfectly shaped corners. The three academy students came out from underneath their disguise, and Konohamaru said, as expected of my rival. I see that you three are wearing my goggles. Are you causing Iruka-sensei hell? He asked. The three nodded and Moegi said timidly, Naruto-kun, can you play ninja with us? Sure, Moegi-chan. Naruto said with a smile, and then a feminine voice cried out, Naruto. The Jinchuriki and the kids turned to see Sakura. Sakura. Are you okay, Naruto? Yeah, I am fine now. The Haruno noticed the three kids and knelt down to their level with a smile. And who are you three? Please don't ask, Naruto said, but it was too late. I'm Moegi, the sassiest kunoichi in the academy. I'm Udon, I like algebra. And I'm Konohamaru, the strongest academy student, and together, we are. The three said in unison while making a pose, the Konohamaru core. Naruto and Sakura sweat dropped at it, but then Konohamaru asked, so, lady, do you want to play ninja with us? Sakura looked at Naruto, then back at them, sure, I have nothing better to do. The two genin played with the three students until Konohamaru accidentally bumped into a person. He was wearing a black jumpsuit with cat-like tips on the hood, he had purple face paint markings and a bandaged bundle on his back. His companion, the girl beside him, was wearing a gray skirt and had fishnet stockings on her left thigh and right ankle. She also had a large fan folded up on her back. The boy grabbed Konohamaru by the scruff of his neck and Naruto said in a stern, polite way, excuse me, sir, but I am going to have to ask you to put him down immediately. No way. The boy answered, he bumped into me and that is rude. He had to learn how to respect his elders the hard way and I abhor little shrimps. Immediately Naruto disappeared and the boy felt a kunai at his neck. You shouldn't underestimate young ones, they could kill you in the future. Now, put him down and I will not ask a third time. The blonde woman thought to herself, I didn't even see him move. She slowly reached for her fan behind her and Sakura's voice said from behind as well, I wouldn't move if I were you, miss. Naruto commented, well, that was fast, Sakura, you have been using weights. The same ones as you, Naruto. Now where were we? Ah, yes, this should be the part where you put our little friend down on the ground gently. The blonde woman said, Kankuro, put the brat down now. Kankuro set Konohamaru down and the two Konoha genin moved by the kids just as Kankuro reached behind him to get the bundle off of his back until a pebble struck his hand. Really not a good idea. You mind telling us what you are doing here in our village? A person asked and Sakura said, Sasuke. Kankuro muttered out loud, nothing in this village but shrimps and squirrels, huh? Naruto replied, I suggest you shouldn't do anything stupid, Kankuro-san. Your teammate in that tree reeks of bloodlust, meaning he is not particularly happy with your hostility. Kankuro and his blonde companion's eyes widened with fear as they looked to see a red-haired genin with green eyes and black bags around his eyelids, standing upside down with his arms crossed and a gourd on his back. Kankuro, stop this, you are an embarrassment to our village. But, Gaara. Shut up or I will kill you, Gaara said in monotone. Kankuro flinched and replied, You are right, I was out of line. The blonde apologized, We are sorry, Gaara, really, really sorry. Sasuke thought, so he is the leader, he must be very powerful to have those two quaking in fear and has stealth rivaling Kakashi-sensei's own, but how did Naruto sense him at all? Gaara did a Suna Shunshin and appeared between his group. Kankuro, Temari, come on, we are leaving, now. Sakura said, Wait. No, Sakura, let them go, they are here for the Chunin exams. Naruto said to her. Chunin exams? She asked. One of the two possible ways to get promoted from Genin to Chunin, you must show strategy, leadership and dedication by participating in a series of tests along with fighting different opponents from the ninja villages in the continent. Naruto stated. Temari smirked as she thought, wow, cute and smart. Sasuke asked as he jumped down, how do you know about this, Naruto? Library. And the reason you two never knew about it is because Kakashi-sensei never bothered to tell us. I'm guessing that he might put us in the exams to test us as well as get out of his hair for a while. Gaara glanced at the two boys as he thought, it takes skill to hit Kankuro without him detecting it and to get behind both of my siblings is even harder as well. Gaara spoke up suddenly, you three, what are your names? I am Sabaku no Gaara. Uchiha Sasuke. Haruno Sakura. Uzumaki Naruto. I hope to see you three in the exams, Gaara stated in monotone before he left along with his teammates. He creeps me out, voiced Sakura. I know, but there is something odd about him, something familiar. Naruto said, and then he spoke to Serenity, did you check their chakra, Serenity? Yes, Master Naruto, two of them are normal, but the one subject known as Gaara has higher chakra than normal, it is also similar to the Kyuubi's chakra, meaning that he is a Jinchuriki as well. Unfortunately I couldn't confirm which one he holds. That is fine, at least we know that he is a Jinchuriki. Then Sasuke looked at his teammates and said, Naruto, Sakura, I am sorry for the way that I acted, I was out of line. Not knowing your parents is much the same as losing your family. Naruto nodded as he replied, I accept your apology, Sasuke, and I am also sorry for antagonizing you as well. So for compensation, I guess one spar against you can't hurt. Sasuke smiled a bit, I would like that very much, Naruto. Hokage's office, now does everyone know what to do? Sarutobi asked. The Jonin and Chunin nodded in agreement while Sarutobi continued, excellent, now are there any nominations for this year's exams? Kakashi, Kurenai, Guy and Asuma stepped forward. I, Kakashi Hatake, sensei of Team 7 hereby recommend all three of my genin, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno and Naruto Uzumaki ready for the Chunin exams. What? No way. It is too soon for them. Iruka thought to himself in shock. I, Kurenai Yuhi, sensei of Team 8, consisting of Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburame and Kiba Inuzuka, recommend all three of my genin ready for the Chunin exams. I, Might Guy, the youthful sensei of Team 9, Neji Hyuga, Tenten Mugawa and Rock Lee, ready for the Chunin exams. I, Asuma Sarutobi, leader of Team 10, consisting of Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara and Choji Akamichi, ready for the Chunin exams as well. Iruka cried out, Lord Hokage, if I may speak, some of the genin that were mentioned used to be my students. I believe that it is too soon for them to be put in this exam, it is much too dangerous especially with the known events that will occur during them. Hiruzen replied firmly, I understand your concerns, Iruka, but it is not your decision to make. I may sound cold and uncaring, but some of the genin do need a wake-up call, some more than others. This is a perfect way to show it by putting them in the exams, and I know it is dangerous with Orochimaru and his spies lurking about in the exams, but we must keep up appearances. He turned to the Jonin before him, see me after the debriefing, so I can give you your slips. You are to notify your genin to report to the academy in room 315 for the first phase with their signed slip. Hi, Hokage-sama. The next day, Team 7 appeared for their meeting only for Kakashi to appear late, again and gave them their slips to the Chunin exams. Elsewhere in the training grounds, a girl's voice was heard, "Hey, did you hear? Kakashi's team is going to appear in the Chunin exams." No way, the Sharingan no Kakashi, they must be quite powerful then. HMPH, in the end, fate will dictate that we will be the victor. After Kakashi gave them the slips, Naruto moved to Tenchi's shop and the scarred man looked over to him. "Ah, Uzumaki-san, you are early today. Hold on for 1 second." Tenchi went in the back and Naruto took the time to window shop. He was already stocked on his primary weapons as well as his ninja tools and portable traps. Tenchi appeared in the front with katami in hand. "Here you go, Naruto-san." The Jinchuriki took back katami. She felt a bit lighter, yet more durable. "Thank you, Tenchi-san, here is your payment as promised." "Keep it." Naruto was confused. "I don't understand. I was glad to work on such a fine piece of work and the Hokage already paid for it in advance, so don't worry about it." Naruto stared at him for a moment and then said, "Thanks." He sealed katami in its original position and he strode toward the training grounds while Tenchi thought, "Phew, he almost caught that lie. He is definitely your son, Minato." Training Area 3, I wonder, Naruto said as he unsealed katami and sent chakra into the blade. The black sword was lit ablaze with blue chakra. "Yep. He used a bit of chakra conducting metal. Looks like I can use it to send chakra out in an arc, or the destructive one for that matter. I will need to delve in my mind again to collect some again." The Jinchuriki thought, but first. The blonde ninja quickly grabbed his kunai out of his holster and threw at the tree left of him. "Come on out." "Tenten, was it?" Tenten appeared behind the tree and said, "How did you know that it was me?" "I never forget a chakra signature after I sense it. I know the reason that you are following me and I am not going to disclose my personal business all because you recognize this weapon." "But why not? A genin fresh as you would be spilling their guts out from Iwa and back if he or she had defeated one of the 7 shinobi swordsmen of the mist and lived. My case is different because the truth is that I didn't defeat him at all." "What? Explain yourself." "I will say no more. Farewell, Tenten-san." He did a shunshin just as Tenten moved to grab him while shouting, "Wait." Then the weapon's mistress cursed, "Damn it, I wouldn't be able to find him now and I will have to survive the Chunin exams to get more information from him. What does he mean that he didn't defeat him? Then how would that explain how he got that sword on his persona?" The young Kunoichi went home, empty-handed as Naruto watched her. "Persistent little Kunoichi, are you?" "Master, you do know that you will not be able to avoid the situation concerning over Nekoshi-san. She will wear you down." "Well, Serenity, let's pray and hope that she doesn't find me at all, or where I live at. Now let's go over what we are going to help Hinata out for tonight." Academy. Naruto arrived at the academy the next morning and saw that Sasuke and Sakura were already there. "Hey, guys, ready?" Naruto asked and his fellow teammates nodded as they walked up inside. They walked up to the second floor to see a crowd on the floor. Instantly the three noticed the genjutsu on the sign. Sasuke was about to say something, but Sakura grasped his shoulder and whispered, "Don't say anything at all, Sasuke-kun. If you do, there will be more competition for us in needless battles as well." Sasuke frowned a bit, but understood her logic. He would have a better chance at fighting strong opponents much like Gaara and Naruto. Team 7 was able to slip past to go up the stairs and the resident Jinchuriki glanced down to see Tenten and a bull-haired kid getting knocked around, but then he caught up with his team and met Kakashi at the door. "Good. You are all here. If you weren't, then I would have been forced to bar you from taking the exams at all. All of you, Protect yourselves and each other. Remember, with teamwork, you can defeat even a Jonin. The Hitaki said. Team 7 nodded in unison and proceeded through to have most of the veteran genin stare at them with killing intent. This is laughable. I have felt more intimidated when I was training with Zabuza-sensei and Haku-chan. This is ridiculous. Naruto thought to himself. Sasuke-kun. A voice shouted out before the person came over to their position and glomped said object of affection. Ino, get off of me. Sasuke said. To her rival's surprise, Sakura didn't react to her touching Sasuke at all. Hello, Ino, how have you been since I last saw you? Forehead, Ino said, a bit confused, what has happened to you? Sasuke replied, this is Sakura Haruno, a kunoichi which, unfortunately for you, Ino, I can't say the same. Naruto smirked as he glanced over at the three and thought, good job on playing your part, Sasuke. Ino slowly got off of the Uchiha and joined her teammates. Shikamaru was speaking with Naruto when the Yamanaka heir appeared. Naruto made his move, Ino. What, Naruto? She replied hotly. I take it, Sasuke acknowledges Sakura more than you, correct? What do you know? Simple. I know because I am the one that helped Sakura blossom from a fangirl to a kunoichi with skill close to Sasuke's level. Thus she has been in company with him, even training with him in his own home. Ino's hands balled up into fists as Naruto said, you envy her, don't you? You want the same thing as well. I can help you there, Ino. If you are serious about being a kunoichi and winning Sasuke's heart, you need to do two things only. What is that? Be your slave or something. Ino, I am not that kind of guy to do such a vile thing. I just want you to answer a simple question, why do you like Sasuke so much? Ino said, because he is smart, cool, handsome and strong, but above all, he has experienced a lot of pain, causing him to shut everyone out. I feel that maybe I could be able to get through to him by being there for him. Your feelings are sincere. Fine, now here is the second thing, meet me at training ground 47 after the exams or when we have a break, and prepare for a long session. Then a silver-haired genin with round spectacles came over to them while saying, my, are you all a lively bunch of genin? I take it that you are all rookies, right? Kiba growled out, who asked you? Oh, forgive me of my manners, I am Kabuto Yakushi, and particularly you are pissing off the AIM ninjas behind you. They have quite short tempers, but now I will share my information with you since it is your first time. The fellow genin said to them. Do you mean that you have taken the exams before, Kabuto-san? Sakura asked. Yes, the exams are held once every 6 months, unfortunately, I could never pass and now this is my 7th try. Naruto thought, that was too convenient, although he is a Konoha shinobi, he would be desperate on his 7th try. Nobody in their right mind would give out information so easily without trying to con newbies into a favor. You see, there are many teams that have arrived here, mostly from Kusa. Oto is a recent new village, so I don't have that much information on them, so you could ignore them for now. Sasuke asked, excuse me, but do you have information on individuals? Kabuto answered with a smile, yes. I want the stats on Sabaku no Gaara, Naruto Uzumaki and that team that is staring at us over there. Sasuke said, pointing behind him. Everyone turned to see a Hyuga glaring at Hinata. Tenten was staring at Naruto and the bull-haired kid's eyes flickered between Sasuke and Sakura. Right. Gaara has done 1B rank and 4C rank missions, his abilities are currently unknown and rumor has it that he has never been injured at all. Your teammate, Naruto, has done the same number of missions as you and Sakura-san and now he is being called the new Black Cross due to the sword that he acquired on one of your missions. His ninjutsu, taijutsu and kenjutsu are exceptional, but he hardly has any genjutsu ability. Kabuto drew 3 more cards, Neji Hyuga has done 20D rank and 12C rank mission. His taijutsu is the best since he is from the Hyuga clan, but his ninjutsu and genjutsu are non-existent. Rock Lee, same number of missions and his taijutsu is exceptional, but he also has no ninjutsu or genjutsu. Tenten Mugawa, same number of missions and her taijutsu is good as well. She is also a weapons specialist and known that she has never missed a target. Naruto thought as he glanced at her, so she is a weapons specialist, the mid-long range person in the group. Neji is close range as well as Lee. Kabuto stated, everyone here from the various countries are here to take the exams and it is filled with a lot of talented youngsters. Hinata whispered, M makes you lose confidence. Sakura's eyes darted over the genin and said, so everyone here. Kabuto nodded, finishing her sentence, yup, everyone like Gaara-san and Lee-kun are elite genin from their reigning countries. Suddenly Naruto pushed Kabuto back and held one of the Oto ninjas at knife point with his teammates in a similar fashion with his Kage Bunshin. I suggest that you three can keep your bloodlust down a little longer or I will have no choice, but to discipline you three for misbehaving. The Oto ninja was surprised and then he nodded slowly. Then Naruto released him and dispelled his clones just as a large white smokescreen appeared and dispersed quickly to reveal a scarred man in a black trench coat along with 3 squadrons of Chunin. Pipe down, maggots. Oto ninjas, like Blondie here said, I suggest that you three save your energy or you will be disqualified from the exams. The bandaged one said, I apologize for my team, Proctor-san. We were merely excited. The man frowned. For some reason, I believe that I was more than that. This year is going to be bloody. The scarred proctor then shouted, everyone, listen up because I will not be repeating myself a second time. I am Ibiki Morino, your first proctor. You will be seating by the number that you draw from this box and sit at the appropriate seats, and then we will hand out the exams. If you try to switch your tile, you will fail immediately. Now form a single line. The genin complied and each of them took out a tile from the box that was held by a random Chunin. Naruto was happened to be seated by Hinata and Akusa ninja. Hello, Hinata-chan. Hi, Naruto-kun, let's do our best, okay. Right. Oh, and Hinata, good to see you talking without stuttering. All of that training did pay off, huh? She smiled. Yes, it did. Then she thought, and maybe, just maybe I will be able to confess my feelings for you now, Naruto-kun. Ibiki then barked out, all right, you worthless bastards, we must go over the rules before I allow you to turn over your test, also there will be no questions and you each start out with 10 points. If you miss one, then you have 9 and so on. Now if you are caught cheating, 2 points will be deducted and after your 5 chances are done, you will be escorted from the room immediately. Now the second rule, this is a team test to see how much your team can hold up to 30 points. One of the Chunin commented, we have our eye on you guys. The crowd was a bit shaken, but Ibiki continued, realize that the weak ones who get caught are destroying themselves. As shinobi trying to become Chunin, be proud ninjas. Now on to the final rule, which is that if a teammate doesn't answer all questions correctly or loses all of their points will fail, along with their 2 teammates. Sakura thought, what? Ibiki stated, you now have 1 hour to complete the test, you may now turn over your tests and begin. There was a rustle of papers as the genin turned over their papers and began to write down their answers to the questions in complete silence. Ibiki watched over the genin with a careful eye until his eyes fell upon Naruto, who was staring right back at him. What the hell? The kid is done already with the test, but that is impossible, he is not using any genjutsu nor has he cheated at all, he is supposed to be smart, but those questions are at least high Chunin level and have never been seen in the academy for over 7 years. The torture and interrogation head honcho thought to himself, Is he a hidden genius? As if to answer, Naruto smirked at him in amusement. Pretty soon, teams were failed left and right, mostly from Konoha and somewhat Suna. After 45 minutes has passed, Ibiki called out, pencils down. Okay. Now it is time to start the 10th question. But before that, let's go over the added rules to the test. Nearby building Kakashi said lazily, it is sure a bit boring without my genin. Asuma said lazily with a unlit cigarette in his mouth, don't worry, Kakashi, you will be busy again soon. Why is that, Asuma? I heard that the proctor for the first portion of the exam is Ibiki Morino. What? Ibiki? They actually made that sadist a proctor. Who? Kurenai asked curiously. Oh, sorry, Kurenai, I forgot that you were recently promoted to Jonin a few years back. You see, Ibiki Morino is one of our best interrogators and prefers the mental approach. When dealing with him, he uses simple words and scenarios to make you torture yourself. Asuma explained. Back to the testing room 315, Ibiki stated, first, you must decide whether to take the question or not. Sasuke thought to himself, take the question or not? What does he mean by that? Temari asked, choose. Then what happens if we decide not to take it? Ibiki said as he chuckled lightly, well, now that is simple really, if you decide not to take it, then your points will be reduced to 0 and you will fail along with your 2 teammates. A random genin shouted, then what the hell is that supposed to mean? Of course, we will take the final question. Ibiki gave him a sadistic smirk, which brings us to our last rule, if you take the 10th question and just so happen to get your answer wrong, then that unfortunate genin will never be able to take this exam ever again. Kiba shouted with an accusing finger pointing at Ibiki, that is not fair. There are guys here that have taken this exam before. You don't have the power. Ibiki laughed at him, you guys are unlucky. This year, it is my rules and my rules are law until you walk out of this room with the next proctor, but fear not, for I am giving you a way out. If you quit right now, you will have the ability to try again next year. Now let's begin the final question, but first who wants to give up? Soon various genin began to quit due to the pressure and when the room was almost completely empty, Ibiki asked, anyone else want to quit? No one raised their hand or stood up. Then Ibiki thought, fine, then it is time to give them the final verdict, and the shock of their lives. For those of you left over, you all have passed the first test. A collective what was heard throughout the room, and then Sakura asked, but what about the 10th question? Ibiki smiled at her. The 10th question was basically the choice to take it or not. Temari shot out her question, then what about the other 9, what was their purpose? Those questions were made for Chunin to answer, thus you genin couldn't answer them unless you were extremely smart. For the rest, it forced you to realize that the only way for you to pass was to cheat. We had 2 or more Chunin disguised as genin with the correct answers stationed nearby, and those who were caught by cheating poorly were escorted out, as you know. The torture and interrogation leader untied his Konoha bandana to display his bald, scarred head obscured with various screw holes and old burns. Because, at times, information is more important than life and people will risk everything to get it. Sasuke thought to himself, the after effects of torture. Ibiki retied the bandana. If the enemy notices you, there is no guarantee that the information will be accurate. Information can be the greatest weapon for your country and teammates. Temari said, but I still don't understand the 10th question. The 10th question was based on a choice, a leap of faith if you call that, which could make you or break you. The ability to face any hardships and be perilous is the qualifications for a Chunin, so I wish you guys luck. Naruto gave him a smirk and Ibiki smirked back as he thought, you are an interesting kid. Enko led the genin to a training ground, which had a circular fence with gates surrounding the edges and a sign that was written, forbidden, only Chunin and Jonin allowed. The Tokubetsu Jonin turned to them and said, welcome to training ground number 44, the second stage of your exam. In Konoha, It also bears another name, the name of the Forest of Death. Naruto commented, "It doesn't really look like much to me." Anko trained her eyes on him and smiled, "You are a spirited one." The Jinchuriki instantly knew that she was going to try something, and the proctor popped out a hidden kunai from her sleeve quickly to throw it at Naruto's head. Naruto tilted his head to the side to avoid it completely. The knife embedded itself into the ground after cutting a strand of Akusa Genin's hair. Anko appeared behind Naruto with a kunai at his neck. "Ah, you didn't get cut, but all of the spirited ones are the ones that are killed first, spilling that red blood that I love so much." Then she turned with another kunai in hand as the Kusa Genin returned her weapon using her tongue. "Yeah, please don't creep up behind me like that. I have a tendency to kill people when they do that." The Genin replied, "I apologize, I just wanted to return your kunai. It cut my precious hair, and after seeing you in action, my blood is just rushing with excitement." Hinata thought in fear, "Naruto-kun. What is up with this examiner? This is bad." Sakura thought, "And that Kusa girl too. Looks like we got some bloodthirsty ones in this test. He, this should be fun." Anko said with a smirk while Naruto thought, "You are the bloodthirsty one." Anko regained her composure. "Well, then before we start the exam, you have to sign these papers. There will be deaths in this one, and if you don't sign these, it will be my responsibility. I am going to explain the test, and then you can sign them. After that, each team will check in at that booth behind me." She handed Naruto the waiver forms and he passed them out as she said, "Simply put, you will attempt the ultimate survival. First, I will explain the area. There are 44 gates exactly, and there is a forest, a river, and a tower in the center. Each gate is exactly 10 kilometers away from each other. During the survival in here, you will be asked to complete a certain task. Using the weapons and jutsu that you have, you will compete in a no-rules scroll battle. You will fight over these two scrolls, Heaven and Earth. Since there are 26 teams here, half will get Heaven and the other will get Earth. To pass this test, you must reach the tower with both scrolls." Sakura muttered, "So half of the teams will definitely fail because of this requirement." Anko said, "There also is a time limit. The test will last for 120 hours. For those of you who hate math, it equals up to 5 days. Ino protested loudly, 5 days. Choji said, "What about food?" Anko said, "You are on your own. The forest is filled with food. You just have to watch out for the man-eating beasts, poisonous plants, poisonous insects, etc., and 13 teams passing is not likely." As the days progressed, the time to rest is shorter and the distance to the goal is farther, plus the area is filled with enemies, you will not get that much sleep. So you can fail not only for losing the scroll, but the harshness of the course. She smiled. "Now let's talk about what will disqualify you. First, those who don't make to the tower within the 120-hour time limit. Second, those who lose a teammate or have their teammate killed. As a rule, there is no quitting in the middle of the exam, so if you are going to be don't sign those papers. You will be in the forest for 5 days, and also you can't look inside the scroll until you make it to the tower." Shikamaru asked, "What happens if you do?" Anko said, "Why spoil the surprise when you can dare to find out yourselves? Chunin are asked to handle classified information. This is to test your trustworthiness. That is it. Exchange your 3 forms for your scroll, and then choose a gate to get ready for the start." Naruto smirked as he already signed his on the spot while Anko was explaining the rules. Anko said, "Oh, and a final word of advice, just don't die." Just then a random Chunin came out from the tarp to state that it was about time to exchange the scrolls to the teams. As the teams went to get their scrolls, the Uchiha thought as he watched, "I see, so you can't tell which team gets which scroll or who on the team is carrying the scroll. The times that I wish I had a Byakugan." It is just exactly what Ibiki said. In this test we will be risking our lives fighting for information. Everyone is an enemy and everyone is determined. There will be killing. Anko looked around. Hee, looks like the meaning of the signing that form has sunk it. Soon the genin teams were placed at different gates to go through and Anko said, everyone, follow an instructor and go to your gates. We will begin the second phase in 30 minutes. As 30 minutes passed, Anko declared the start and the genin raced through their gates. Somewhere in the forest, there was a team in matching spandex suits that were watching Team 8. Kiba stated, so basically everyone is headed to the tower, right? Then setting traps near there would be best. Akamaru quietly barked and Kiba said, so they are here already, Where? Akamaru shifted his head to the left and upwards. One of the spandex Konoha ninja said, hey, kids just standing there out in the open. Do they want to be found? Looks like they have sensed us, but they don't know where exactly we are. Abruptly he started to shiver and one of his teammates said, hey, what's wrong, you are turning blue. Then he noticed something out of the back of his shirt. What the hell is that? Suddenly giant leeches dropped from the canopy and fell to the ground. Konoha jumping leeches will sense all life forms and attack in a group. 5 minutes of sucking and you will be shipped off to the next world. Realizing that and setting traps where the enemy might escape to. One down. Suddenly the trap that the Konoha group was under activated and they screamed loud. Anko heard them and commented, well, looks like they started already. Team 7, okay, now who is holding the scroll? Naruto asked. Sakura answered logically, it should be the middleman in terms of strength. Here in Konoha, it is established that Sasuke-kun here is the strongest out of our group, therefore underestimating you, Naruto. You should hold on to the scroll while Sasuke holds a decoy, just in case something happens. She turned to Sasuke, do you agree with this plan? The Uchiha smirked, not bad, Sakura, I agree to this plan, besides I just want to fight strong opponents and in this exam, he looked at Naruto as he continued, you have no choice, but to fight me in the exam if you want to become a Chunin. The Uzumaki sighed, alright, Sasuke, let's just get through this part now and be alert for anything. Then he thought, there is no doubt in my mind that Orochimaru will definitely appear in this part for Sasuke, I just hope my plan works. Serenity said, actually, Naruto-sama, he is already here. What? When? That Kusa genin that returned Anko-san's kunai confirms that it was Orochimaru by a chance of 78%. I will take that chance, how couldn't I have noticed that factor? So it is that Kusa team we have to watch out for, but no doubt that display earlier will make Sakura and Sasuke wary of her, him. As they ran through the forest, now what is the plan? Sakura asked. Simple, we find a team, take their scroll and get to the tower, easy enough. Sasuke said and Naruto glanced at him, you just happen to glance at which team has which kind of scroll. No, I called in a favor from Hinata, she used her Byakugan and told me that she found 2 AIM teams who had the Earth scroll we need and 4 Konoha teams who had Heaven before she was caught. What did you give her in exchange? Sasuke smirked, some information on her cousin. In reality, it was Naruto's likes and dislikes that he gave to Hinata and Naruto commented, good thinking, Sasuke, then he tensed up and whispered to his teammates, heads up, we are not alone. Suddenly shuriken and senbon were thrown at the 3 teammates, who scattered about momentarily to see that it was an AIM team. Sakura looked over at Sasuke for confirmation and saw him give her the slightest nods. Naruto activated his gloves while the leader of the AIM team spoke up, I hope you don't mind us taking your scroll, kids. Sakura retorted casually, you mind giving us a name, Oji-san? Then she thought to herself, Naruto must have rubbed off of me. I am called Shigur, these are my teammates, Bayu and Midair. You will pay for your insolence, little girl. He shouted as he threw up his umbrella, then flipped through hand signs, Ninpo, Joro Senbon. Doden. Dorodomu. Naruto slammed his hands on the ground and an earth dome quickly came over Team 7, protecting his teammates from the Senbon. Okay, Sasuke, Shigure is yours, Sakura, you take the one called midair and I will take the short one. The two nodded and Naruto released the dome from the back, letting Sasuke and Sakura discreetly entered from the back, just as the AIM team were coming around. Sasuke kicked Shigure in the face while Sakura sent a kunai at midair, who dodged it. Naruto burst from his earth prison and fired blasts of flame at Bayu, who was forced to dodge and then pulled out hidden swords from his two umbrellas. The Jinchuriki dodged a thrust from his left one and ducked under a swipe with the right one to give Bayu a strike to the stomach. Bayu stumbled back, clutching his stomach, and then Naruto gave him two punches across the face, one on both sides, and gave him a savage roundhouse kick to the head, knocking Bayu into a tree and knocking him unconscious. As Bayu slumped to the ground, Naruto checked his pouch to see that he was carrying some ninja wire, AIM issued kunai and shuriken along with some scrolls. He took the ninja wire and tied up Bayu securely, but enough to that he wouldn't be able to get out for at least a few minutes. With Sakura, she was in a knife taijutsu match with midair. She blocked a swipe at her midsection and then returned the favor with a well-placed kick to the chest. She sprang at him to stab his arm, but the AIM nin sent his feet up in the air, catching her chin. You will not beat me that easily, little girl, he declared with a smirk. Sakura spat out blood from her cut lip and launched herself at him. Foregoing his swords, the AIM nin flipped through hand seals as he shouted, Suiden, Sukoden. The water from the lake behind him sprang out over him towards Sakura, but to his surprise, the water went through her. A bunchin, when did she? He said, but then he saw Sakura coming at him with a punch, causing his head to snap to the side, then she slammed her knee into his stomach. Midair stumbled back, holding his stomach, and Sakura didn't relent to give him an uppercut, making his head snap up. Finally the Haruno performed a sabot kick to his chest, making midair gasp for air. Next, the pink-haired Kunoichi used the ring of her kunai to knock out her opponent, sending into his temple. The AIM nin fell into the bliss of unconsciousness. Sakura also searched to find the same equipment as Naruto did, but she also found a set of twin Fuma Kodachi within a scroll, making her smirk and kept them as she tied up midair with his own wire as the Jinchuriki dragged his downed opponent to her position. You found the scroll. Sakura shook her head no and looked over at Sasuke, who had the upper hand. Well, let's put them together, so we can watch Sasuke's entertaining fight. With Sasuke, the Uchiha dodged under Shigure's kick and then caught his other one to twist it, making the 19-year-old fall to the ground, then grappled with him by sitting on his back and pulling his leg back. Shigure struggled as he grimaced in pain, then he swung his elbow into the Uchiha's side in rapid succession, causing Sasuke to lose his grip, and the AIM ninja flipped him over, but Sasuke rolled to the side and stood up quickly. The two circled each other as they drew their respected weapons. Sasuke took out two kunai while Shigure unsheathed a hidden sword to put it in a reverse grip. You are pretty good, but you will not defeat me with that level of skill. Shigure commented and the Uchiha smirked. Then it looks like I will have to take it up a notch, Sharingan. Immediately, Sasuke's onyx eyes transitioned into a dark red with two tomo surrounding his pupils in both eyes. Shigure narrowed his lone eye, and Uchiha, I thought that accursed clan were all wiped out, but no matter, at least I can reply the kindness that one of your clan member did when he took my eye away from me when I was 10. In my opinion, I think it suits you better. Women these days dig battle scars, plus it does attract attention away from that ugly mug of yours. Shigure growled in anger as he launched his attack by swiping at Sasuke's head, but the Uchiha used his two kunai to block. Then the Rain Ninja sent a punch to Sasuke's face, but his Sharingan caught it and he craned his head to the side to dodge. Next, Shigure went for a roundhouse kick, but Sasuke ducked under it and sent his weapons at Shigeru's head, but the aim nin leaned his head back and the Uchiha smirked as he gave him a left-right combo to the chest, then another combo to his face and ended it with a jumping kick to the face. Eat it, Sasuke said with a smirk. Why you, Sweden, Sushoha. Sasuke's smirk disappeared as the lake sent out a huge wave from behind. He jumped in the air as he flipped through hand signs, Kaden, Gukaku no Jutsu. The fireball sprang from his mouth and evaporated some of the water that was coming at him. I have got you, Shigeru shouted as he was poised to kill him, but the Uchiha immediately used Kawarimi and appeared behind the Rain Ninja to land a chop to the back of his neck. Well, that was slightly entertaining. Soon the three aim ninjas were left on the ground, unconscious and tied up. Did you get their scroll? Sasuke asked. No, I believe that Shigeru has got it, Sakura said, and the Uchiha checked the aim nin for the scroll to find it and said, alright, now all we have to do is get to the tower. Suddenly Naruto felt the wind stinging against his cheek and a large wind came through to blow them away, but all three of them stood their ground. Oh, I wanted to blow all of three of you away. Oh, well, I may as well play with you before I take your scroll and your life. A feminine voice said from above. Team 7 looked up to see that it was the mysterious Kusa Nin with the long tongue. Shit, it's Orochimaru. Damn, I didn't think that he would get here that fast, he must be here for Sasuke's Sharingan. Naruto thought. Or he could be after you. Naruto, you do have me inside of you, augmenting your abilities. Serenity added. The thing is, why didn't he grab any from the massacre happened? If he had implanted them like Kakashi-san did, it would have sapped his reserves. He would need to be an Uchiha to use it to the full extent. My guess that he either has the power to possess Sasuke's body or needs to do an experiment on Sasuke to imprint his being into Sasuke's brain. This is also the factor that he would need a lot of blood to incorporate into his system. Either way, he has to take him away from the village to do either of those. The female Kusa Nin chuckled evilly as she pressed her finger on her eyelid while she launched her killing intent, freezing Team 7 in place as they each saw their own gruesome deaths. Master, it is an illusion. Fight it, Serenity cried out in alarm. The Jinchuriki complied and he was able to move a bit, but Sakura wasn't used to it. Due to Itachi's use of Tsukiyomi, Sasuke was able to move and override the killing intent with pain to grab Sakura, and Naruto followed after him. What is she? Murmured Sasuke, a monster. Sasuke, we have to make a stand. What? No way. You saw what she did to us back there. There is no way that we win this battle. We've no choice but to fight. She will just pressure us until we are dead. We must take a stand against her, and come on. Fear didn't stop us from taking on Zabuza, right? Sasuke bit his lip a bit as Naruto continued. I am terrified of her power as well, but I am terrified of losing my teammates, my friends, to death. I have already lost someone to its clutches and I will not let that happen again, now when I am around. Sakura's eyes fluttered a bit and snapped open as she shouted, look out. The three of them moved in opposite directions to avoid a snake from swallowing them whole. Sasuke threw shuriken into the snake's mouth, ripping its insides to shreds, and it fell dead. Way to give yourself away, Orochimaru, Naruto said. Oh, you have heard of me, Naruto-kun. You are the only one who can summon snakes that big beside our proctor, Anko Mitarashi. What do you want? Orochimaru burst from the snake's carcass, dripping with slime, and ripped the skin off his face to reveal his pale face with purple markings and slitted yellow eyes. Isn't it obvious? I want Sasuke Uchiha and the power of his Sharingan. Sasuke replied, I am sorry to disappoint you, but I am strictly, very strictly, and as for the Sharingan, over my dead body. Orochimaru chuckled, I need you alive for that. It seems that you need some motivation. Instantly Naruto acted by throwing a flash ball, which blinded the snake Sannin momentarily, and Naruto activated his gloves to send a flaming ball in the air, which exploded. Anko looked up and said, "Go. Quickly. The Anbu will be there in 5 minutes, we must provide support." The flames came down at Orochimaru, who dodged them much like a snake, and Naruto came in forward on him to stab him with a kunai. Orochimaru gurgled, but then he turned into mud and Naruto thought, a Dotenkage Bunshin. He turned to look behind him to receive a kick to the face and Orochimaru said, "You are in the way of my ambition." Sakura flipped through hand seals as she shouted, "Kaden, Hausenka no Jutsu." She spat out small fireballs and the snake Sanin deftly dodged them only to get Naruto's foot in his face. "You will not get your hands on Sasuke. Sasuke-kun needs my power in order for him to kill his brother," Orochimaru stated. Sakura glared at the man, "That is completely bullshit. Nobody can give the power to defeat a Jonin without some kind of recuperation of a deal." "Whatever do you mean? Don't play dumb with us," Naruto shouted in anger. "Admit it, you could have infiltrated Konoha during the Uchiha massacre to implant some Sharingan into your eyes since there were plenty of them, but that would sap your chakra since you knew Kakashi's predicament. So somehow you have found some way to make yourself an Uchiha by needing Sasuke or Itachi's blood." The Jinchuriki smirked. "I bet you were too weak to get Itachi's own because he is stronger than you, so why should Sasuke go to you when you can't even defeat Itachi yourself?" Orochimaru glared at Naruto and said, "I am going to deal with you first." He sprang at Naruto, but suddenly kunai stopped him from getting any closer. "That is far enough, Orochimaru." The snake Sanin glanced up to see 3 squads of Anbu in front of him and one of them asked, "What the hell are you doing here?" "Sightseeing. Regardless, you are wanted for treason, kidnapping and unlawful experimentation. As the captain of the Anbu, I place you under arrest." "Sorry, but I still got my get out of jail free card." The snake Sanin backed up into the branch and melded with it while the leader shouted orders, "Squad Alpha and Beta, search for him, do not let him escape. Squad Theta, escort Team 7 to the towers if they have their scrolls." "Hi." Naruto recognized one of them, Neko-san. "Hello, Uzumaki-san, does you team have both scrolls?" "Yes, we do." "Good. Then you will pass on the next phase, let's go." Tower Squad Theta and Team 7 appeared at the tower without difficulty and there was the Hokage standing. "Report." The old man barked out. The Anbu team knelt before him and Neko reported, "Hokage-sama, your informant was correct, Orochimaru has revealed himself and it appears that his primary objective is to possess the Sharingan from Sasuke Uchiha." "I see. So he had finished that jutsu," Hiruzen said. "What jutsu?" Sasuke asked and the Hokage said to him, "I suppose I should tell you 3 about my student." After Orochimaru's parents died, he became obsessed of immortalizing himself. He delved in researching of making a jutsu that would allow to live forever in a sense. He was working on a jutsu that overtakes a person's soul and supplanting his own, thus taking over the body along with its special abilities. Sasuke was disgusted with the idea and said, "Naruto mentioned that Orochimaru did the same thing with my brother, but it backfired and it seems that he was very pissed about it." The Hokage said, "Maybe the Sharingan when it is fully mature can negate the effects. I would isolate you, Sasuke, but I am afraid that Orochimaru would do something to the village and placing Sasuke in open like nothing happened may place you at high risk. Sasuke, I am afraid that I will have to restrict your movements to a minimum and have you trained as well as watched by Kakashi regardless if you pass or not in this next phase." He turned to Naruto and Sakura. "Naruto, Sakura, I am going to ask you to keep quiet about what I have said in these past minutes. Sakura, if you pass this part, I will have you trained by Anko Mitarashi and Kurenai Yuhi. Naruto, your trainer will be coming here as well." Team 7 nodded and Sarutobi said, "Your team will be watched until the end of the second phase, no questions asked." Again, they nodded and they were escorted to a room with Squad Theta outside of their door. Room Team 7 sat in silence as they replayed the events in their heads until Sasuke said, "We have to get stronger." Sakura stated, "Yes, but over the span of a few years, we can't exactly protect each other, let alone ourselves." "We can try," Naruto said. "Makoto-san and Kakashi can protect themselves. Besides, Orochimaru wouldn't dare to approach Sasuke around Kakashi and Makoto-san, especially a mother trying to protect her child is a dangerous person to fight. As for me and Sakura, we are obstacles to getting to you, because you are our friend." Sakura said, "Yuhi-san is the sensei of Team 8 and I have heard that she is the best at using genjutsu while Anko Mitarashi, you mentioned that she summoned snakes, right, Naruto? Was she taught by Orochimaru?" "Yes, she was. She was the only one that has been taught by Orochimaru, and because that she is not well liked because of that factor. But on the flip side, she is the only one who knows how Orochimaru works, his techniques, mannerisms, etc." Sasuke said, "Like me, he specializes in ninjutsu and genjutsu, so the only way to stop him from using those is to work mostly on our taijutsu. To keep up with his hand seals and moves, I will need to upgrade my Sharingan to the 3rd tier in order to reverse the effects." Naruto stood up. "Then that settles it. We will get stronger after the exams are finished, and when we meet Orochimaru again, we will defeat him." He put his hand out and said, "Let's make it official." Sasuke and Sakura put their hands over Naruto's own as they each made a silent promise to become stronger. The three of them took a rest, each of them with a kunai under their pillow in case that should someone slip into the room. Hokage Tower, Orochimaru has made his move. I want everyone to be alert for anything. One of the villages may be in cohorts with Orochimaru since we know that he doesn't have enough manpower to destroy this village. Sarutobi said to the Jonin and Chunin. Forest of Death. Curses. I was so close. That damn Jinchuriki interfered with my plans to get Sasuke. Orochimaru said angrily, "Kabuto. I want you to keep an eye on Naruto Uzumaki, and when you get the chance, kill him. I will have Sasuke's body and the destruction of Konoha during our invasion with Suna." Kabuto bowed lowly. "It shall be done, Lord Orochimaru. I will take care of everything." 4 days later, the Rookie 9, along with Team Guy, Team Kabuto, Team Dosu, and Team Gaara stood before their senseis, proctors, and the Hokage himself. "First off, for the second test, congratulations on passing," Anko said, and then she thought to herself, "I never would expect 24 of them to be here. I was expecting single digits actually, but at least I cut them in half practically." Guy stated, "Your team is not that bad, Kakashi. Maybe they got lucky, but with my team around, getting any further is nigh impossible now, since from now it's about real skill. Well, with youth, there are sweet times and sour times, Kakashi." "Huh, oh, I'm sorry, did you say something? Damn you, Kakashi. You make me so mad. Why do you always have to act so cool? For so many to be here and most of them are rookies," Sarutobi thought, and then he whispered as he looked at their senseis, "No wonder they nominated them all." Anko spoke up, "Now Hokage-sama will now explain the third test, listen carefully." "Thank you, Anko. Now before we begin the third test, there is something that I must bring to your attention. It concerns with the true reason of this exam." "True reason?" thought Sakura. "Why do we have all the allied countries taking the exam together?" The Hokage asked rhetorically, "To promote friendship among the countries. To raise the level of shinobi. I don't want you to be confused about the true meaning. The exam is," Tenten thought to herself, "is a replacement for war between the allied countries." Sarutobi finished. The bun-haired Kunoichi asked, "What does that mean?" The Hokage answered, "If we were to go back in time, the current allies were enemies who fought each other over who would rule. In order to prevent wasteful fighting, the stage that countries chose for battle, the origins of this Chunin exam. Why the hell do we have to do this crap? Wasn't this test for deciding who is a Chunin? Naruto voiced out. It is a fact that this exam decides which shinobi have what it takes to become a Chunin, but on the other hand, the exam has another side to it, where each country's shinobi risks their own life to protect their land's reputation. Sarutobi replied after taking a puff from his pipe. Ino piped up, I don't understand. Watching the third phase of the exam will be leaders and influential individuals from many countries that make up the clients of the shinobi, and the leaders of those leaders will also be there to watch each of your battles. If the strength of a country is clear, then that country will gain more clients, and conversely, if seen as weak, that country will lose clients. This also send a political message to potential enemy countries, by saying that, our village has this much power. Kiba blurted out, yeah, but why? Why it is that we must risk our lives in battle? Simple, the strength of the country is the strength of the village, which is the strength of the shinobi, and a shinobi's true strength is only shown through life-risking battles. This exam is a place to observe each country's power and to show off your own power. It only has meaning because lives are at risk, and that is why those that have come before you have fought in the Chunin exam for this dream are meaningful. But then why? Tenten asked. Do you say stuff about it being for friendship? I said it in the beginning. I don't want to confuse the purpose of this. By losing life and establishing balance, this is the shape of friendship in the world of the shinobi. Now before we begin the final test, I will tell you one more thing. This is not only a test, it is a life-risking battle with your dreams and your country's reputation on the line. I get it, Naruto said to himself as he crossed his arms, while Gaara said in monotone, I don't care what it is, just hurry up and tell us what this life-risking battle entails. The Hokage said, of course, I would like to explain the third test, but... Actually, a sickly voice interrupted. A Jonin appeared before the Hokage. I apologize, Hokage-sama, for the interruption. From here on, as the referee for this part of the exam, will you please allow me, Gecko Hayate? By all means. Hayate turned to the genin. Hello, everyone, I am Hayate. Before we begin, there's something that I would like you to do. It is a preliminary for the third phase to decide who gets to participate in the main event. Preliminary. The bubblegum-haired genin whispered to herself. Shikamaru shouted, preliminary. What do you mean? Sensei, I don't understand this preliminary, but why aren't all the people here allowed to participate in the next test? Sakura said meekly. The first and second test proved to be too easy for you genin, so in a result we have too many people remaining. According to the Chunin exam rules, it is required to have a preliminary to reduce the number of participants for the next test. No way. As Hokage-sama indicated earlier, there will be many people watching your fights, so the fights could take too long, we are limited in time. So anyway, those who are not feeling well or who feel like quitting after these explanations, please come forward now, since we will be starting the preliminary immediately. What? Right now? Kiba shouted in disbelief. Kabuto looked at Orochimaru, who nodded his head, indicating that he should stay in to gather information on his primary subject, Uchiha Sasuke, and possibly kill Naruto Uzumaki. Nobody wants to retire. Oh, I forgot to tell you that you all will be battling individually. You may raise your hand based on your own judgment. Hayate said with a cough. One of the teammates on Kabuto forfeited his position, and Hayate checked him off as he left the arena. Alright, then since we have an even number of 20 contestants, we will have 10 matches, and the winners will advance to the third test. There are basically no rules. The fight continues until one of you dies or knocked out or concedes defeat. If you don't want to die, then I suggest that you forfeit quickly, but when I clearly decided who is the winner, since we don't want pointless corpses, I will jump in and stop things, and the object that controls your destiny is, Hayate stated. Enko muttered into her headset, open it. The wooden board slid upwards to reveal an electric scoreboard. As this electric scoreboard will show the match-ups for each battle. Now this is sudden, but let's announce the names for this fight. Hayate said. The board flipped through the genins' names randomly until they stopped at Sasuke Uchiha and Yoroi Akado. Everyone did so and Hayate said, now match 1, Sasuke Uchiha vs Yoroi Akado, begin. Yoroi did the Tora sign, are you ready? His right hand glowed ablaze with chakra as his left had reached into his pouch. Sasuke reached in his holster. Yoroi flicked them at the Uchiha, but the Uchiha did an overhand strike with his kunai, sending the projectiles back at him. The overhead strike made it that he overextended himself and Sasuke fell down to the ground. Yoroi saw the opportunity and acts by moving toward Sasuke. He aimed his right hand to smash Sasuke's head, but the Uchiha rolled to the side and slammed the kunai point into the ground. Then he tripped Yoroi using his feet, then maneuvered him into a wrestling move, threatening to break his arm. But Yoroi's hand grabbed Sasuke's shirt and Sasuke felt his strength fading away fast. His grip on Yoroi's arm slipped and Yoroi elbowed Sasuke in the gut, and then flipped up into a kneeling position. Sasuke thought, what was that? My strength just suddenly. The weird ninja then moved toward the fallen Avenger, causing Sakura to shout in alarm. Sasuke looked up to see Yoroi's chakra-infused hand clamped on his head, and the Uchiha began to feel weaker and weaker. My chakra, Sasuke said. Yoroi chuckled, so you finally noticed, it's about time. Orochimaru thought, Yoroi's special ability is that he can suck chakra rendering the person useless and weak by a touch of his hand. When he sucks all of your chakra, you will be weak enough for me to give my seal to you. Sasuke moved his leg to prop it against Yoroi. Damn, you. Yoroi was kicked away and skidded away, so, it seems that you still have power left. Yoroi charged again, having Sasuke dodge the swipes of his hand. Sasuke aimed a roundhouse kick at him, but Yoroi jumped over and landed away from him. Sasuke thought desperately, if he tries to touch me one more time, I am done for and he will try to get in close combat with me. What do I do? Gaara thought, is that all you have? Uchiha Sasuke. Naruto shouted after he looked upon the pained face of Sakura, Sasuke. Are you really Uchiha Sasuke? Is this the best you can do? Sasuke looked to see Naruto and Lee on the balcony. That's it, I know what to do. He thought. Yoroi charged at Sasuke. It's over, Uchiha. But the next move surprised everyone, especially Lee, as Sasuke used the same move that Lee used on him. That's Lee thought as his sensei said, what? Sasuke appeared behind Yoroi, though from here, it's all original from here. Sasuke said, it's over. The Uchiha poked him in the back and the opposing ninja recognized the move, Kage Buyu. Take this. Here it comes. The Uchiha declared. Sasuke pushed off of Yoroi's back and aimed a kick at Yoroi's right side. Yoroi blocked the kick and scoffed, not enough. Sasuke grimaced and used the momentum of his kick to aim a punch to his unguarded left side. Kakashi said, not enough, Yoroi's head snapped downwards, but Sasuke did not relent. Get your back here. The Uchiha shouted as he used his right arm to catch his opponent in the chest. Before Yoroi hit the ground, Sasuke turned to land a kick in the chest as he shouted, there's more. Renden. Yoroi's head snapped upwards to cough up blood and he was knocked unconscious. Sasuke slid to the side before coming to a complete stop. Like I have to check. The sickly proctor thought as he checked the pulse of Yoroi, and then turned his head to the side to smile at the wobbly Uchiha. I am stopping this match, thus Uchiha Sasuke is the winner of this match. Sasuke fell backwards only for Kakashi to catch him with his foot. Well, good job. Sasuke let out a small smile as he scoffed a bit, then the lanky Jonin thought, that movement before the Shishi Renden was from Guy's Goken, he must have copied it when he tousled with Lee earlier. Sasuke. What a lame way to win. You are all beat up, idiot. Naruto yelled out. That damn Total moron. The Uchiha said as he looked at his teammate, then he turned to look at Lee as he thought, thanks to you, Lee, I was able to survive. If I hadn't seen your move earlier, then I would have been in trouble, but it is not a move for me to count on. Sasuke's body began to rake in pain as he sat on the ground. I see, that time, you were able to copy a part of my technique from just seeing it once. That is your ability, Sasuke-kun, what a person you are, you will only get stronger and stronger, even I feel,